Bravo's in the studio for the next hour, then Dr. Edward Group, then Roger Stone, and so many others. We have a George Neumeier, if I pronounced that right, from the American Spectator. A bunch of other guests coming on that Stone's got set up. Eddie Bravo is the 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, or JJ.com, and he's on Instagram at EddieBravo10. He's one of the top jiu-jitsu experts in the world, known for being able to beat guys that are top people and a lot bigger than him. Just had back surgery, though, so I'm not as scared of him as I normally am. But I've just known this guy for a good decade or so, hanging out with Joe at UFC events. So funny. So fun to hang out behind the scenes with. And I wanted to, I kept saying fly here, and all of a sudden he's here, but he's got to go right away. I wanted to do like some late night podcast with him, but it's okay. We'll definitely do it again. But you were on that big record-setting podcast with myself and Joe, where she co-hosted a lot. Record downloads, record views, and they tried to censor it. They tried to block it. Joe confirmed that. In fact, some things like Google Play never even listed it. They wouldn't put it on iTunes for a day and a half. That never happened to him. And they won't put it as the top iTunes ever podcast, even though it is. Joe has the internal control board. He can see it's the biggest podcast ever. He's already in the top 3. He has the biggest podcast he ever did, times double or more, and they won't show it on iTunes as #1. What do you think of that, Eddie?
It's pretty crazy. And first of all, I want to apologize.
Good to have you here.
I want to apologize for being an idiot and an annoying guest. I should have just kept my mouth shut. But
I want to apologize. I'm the one that usually interrupts people. Talking about with Joe?
Yes.
I'm glad you were there.
People complained about that, and rightfully so. I was very annoying. But the reason I got...
It's actually kind of funny. Tell me about... the replicas.
The dinosaurs?
Yeah.
No, but the main thing is I've taken a lot of heat over the years, a lot of heat for chemtrails, a lot of heat for that. And to finally get you in front of Joe Rogan's audience, who most of Joe Rogan's audience, they think you're crazy, and they think what the mainstream media, how they portray.
But they actually, 99% actually said, now I like Alex Jones.
No, because of the podcast, for sure.
They were blown away. They actually heard me.
I didn't get annoying until about an hour into the show. I just sat there.
Well, by the way, Marcos Morales and so many others watch the podcast. They also watch your podcast. They all love you. So let's be clear. You're loved on the Joe Rogan podcast. It was just that night some folks got pissed at you.
Yeah, well, it was because I wanted to clear up the whole chemtrail thing, because you're...
Well, let's do that. Let's do that. No one calls it chemtrails in the real world. I call it chemtrails. There is manipulation of the weather. It's mainstream news. And the media always picks it up and says, I'm crazy. It's on the Weather Channel that there are secret programs. It's just so secret we don't know the details. Then other people think every condensation trail is is an actual chemtrail when they're crystal trails. But NASA admits the Earth's 30% darker. You can Google chemtrails from space. It shows the NASA photos. It's changing our atmosphere, and they are adding chemicals to the jet fuel at the industrial level. Go ahead. And I hope Trump, in fact, next time I talk to him, I keep forgetting when I talk to him, I'm going to ask him to look into geospatial manipulation of the weather.
Well, they're calling it stratospheric aerosol injection.
Yes.
John O'Brennan wasn't at the CFR talking about it, how it's captured as interest, and it costs $10 billion a year.
Geoengineering. Tell us about tell us about the real atmosphere manipulation that's going on.
Well, based on what John O'Brennan said at the CFR, you can watch this on YouTube. Just like the chemtrail people have been saying for years, that eventually they're going to have to admit it, and they're going to say that...
And by the way, search engine, the CFR calls for geoengineering. It'll be on their own website.
Yeah, you even said this for years. Eventually, they're going to come out and say that, yes, they are spraying the atmosphere with metallic particles, but it's to save us, to save for global warming, to save the planet. And that's exactly what John O'Brennan did. He got in front of the CFR and he said, we're going to start spraying the atmosphere with stratospheric aerosol injections, and it's going to cost $10 billion a year, and there's going to be some countries that are not going to be into it because...
And guess who's behind it? And word for word, you're saying what they put out. Bill Gates called for this. Bill Gates is getting government money to then run the program.
Yeah.
They're running programs to control hurricanes. It's all in like Nature and Science magazine, but then they go on the news and say, Alex says Obama sent tornadoes to Oklahoma. No, I didn't. So again, they misrepresent what's really going on.
Now, explain the difference between legit contrails and the stuff that is the stratospheric aerosol injections. What's the difference? Because people say, take a basic science class.
Well, there it is, London Guardian. Bill Gates backs climate scientists lobbying for large-scale geoengineering. So they're already doing it. $5 billion a year, Department of Energy, that they admit.
Yeah.
There was a Nobel Prize the two guys won in 1992 with the plan. By 94, it was launched.
Yeah.
And now it's over most of the world. It's a giant program. A lot of people, and I'm not kidding, since Trump got in, notice there's less of the chemtrails. And that's why Trump said we have advanced technology. We can pretty much cure stuff now. I want to roll this out to you. That's why the elites are really mad, because the word is, even though I haven't brought this up to Trump, I need to, is that Trump's killing all these programs. That's why they're so pissed. That's why all the agencies are just ignoring him.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, explain to the people out there who are still non-believers, what is the difference between legit contrails and the ones that last all day and completely cover the sky?
Okay, turns out people think of jet fuel as really volatile. It's not. Gasoline's like 3 times more volatile, more explosive, burns hotter, you name it. Jet fuel actually is like kerosene. And so kerosene, I don't recommend this. You can put it on your hand, light it, and it doesn't burn you for a while. That's what they kind of use like in a lot of the Hollywood sets and things. So you can add a lot of things to kerosene. They add barium salts, aluminum dioxide, and also some radioactive isotopes. There's only 3 big major makers of jet fuel in the United States. There's some sub ones as well. And they just, under a national security directive that's secret, but the patents are there, the directive is known, but the details are classified, they add this to the mix in a government program. They're paid to do it. And then they use the jet engines that the patents, there's like over 20 patents on this. You can Google it. And you get the patent office to use jet engines to then aerosolize for cloud seeding. And they claim that they're shielding the Earth from the sun because we've lost our atmosphere. But then you actually look what the scientists are doing. It's actually, hurting the planet, actually keeping heat in, the opposite. So it's like they're trying to create global warming, actually, because, again, the ultraviolet radiation goes through the clouds. The other good sun gets blocked and bounces back out. Those wavelengths get blocked, but the ultraviolet, it's like your dad tells you, on a cloudy day, you can still get burned because the ultraviolet comes through. That comes through, doesn't bounce back out. Okay, it just heats the Earth up. So they're trying to heat the Earth up in a big, giant secret experiment. And they admit they're doing it, but, it's just they won't give us the details, and then we talk about it. It's like, oh, Alex, nobody on your iPhone's watching you, and Google doesn't listen over the phone. I'm like, I have all their press releases 10 years ago right here. I mean, of course, now they all admit it yesterday but I had you here to interview you, Eddie. See, Eddie got in trouble talking over me, so now I have him as a guest. He won't talk. Eddie can talk more than anybody you know. I went to dinner with him a few weeks ago. He talked for 2 hours straight. It was awesome.
Well, on the Joe Rogan podcast, you wanted to talk more about Trump. I wanted to talk about chemtrails, so I kind of, and then plus you brought out the whiskey. I told Joe, no more drinking on the podcast. I get crazy. The Indian comes out. And then you brought out the bottle of whiskey. We started taking shots, and I wanted to talk chemtrails, and you wanted to talk Trump, and I got kind of angry.
You did a great job. Let's talk about Tim Planet.
I apologize for that.
Let's talk about Tim. Stop it. Stop apologizing. I'm the one who's apologizing. I'm the interrupter.
Okay.
Tell me to shut up. No, but seriously, let's just tell that I've seen you with the hottest chicks I've ever seen anybody with. How do you get all the hot chicks?
Hey, I'm a married man.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was before.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Don't let the lucky lady.
I love my wife. I love my son. I love my family. And
when did you get married?
I got married 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago and stuff in Vegas.
Hey, those were, that was a long time ago, Alex.
I was good, though. Man, Joe can just go and go.
Joe can talk forever, yes. That's why he has a very successful podcast.
Yeah, he's a piece of work. Joe's awesome, isn't he?
He's an incredible man, yes.
Of course, you've known Joe longer than me, but I remember Joe. Did you know Joe like in 1998, 99?
That's when I met him. So we probably...
Well, I mean, he wasn't as big as he is now, but it wasn't a small guy syndrome. Like a big guy mess with him or got in his face. He would like routinely like choke guys out. Like I've seen him do it repeatedly. Like big guys, they would like mess with him. I mean, but over the years, he mellowed out. When did that happen?
When he started smoking weed, probably.
I guess he didn't really get into weed till when, yeah.
2001, 2000.
That's a funny story. He used to like be totally and then...
Yeah, it took me like 6 months to talk him into it, but because I knew if I could get.
But you knew the old Joe, right? You didn't want to mess with him.
Yeah. Well, I was the crazy weed activist at jiu-jitsu. I was a purple belt trying to get everyone to understand.
No, let's just say it. You've defeated like the Gracies, all the top people.
I defeated Hoyler Gracie in 2003, and that's the only Gracie I've ever.
But a lot of people say I don't follow. I mean, I follow UFC some. I like it, but I'm not like I don't know any of that. I mean, I just know that everybody says you're the best.
I am not the best.
Well, no, just long term, like with the technique and stuff.
Jean-Jacques Machado is the best. That's my master. So I'm not the best. I'm not even close to the best.
But you did just get a back surgery too, didn't you?
Yes, yes. Got a disc replacement in my back, and I'm still recovering. You know, doing yoga now, trying to get back to 100%. Hopefully, I'll get there. But
was it the jiu-jitsu that finally got your back?
The doctor said no. I went to the best. Apparently, I got the best doctor in the country. I didn't even know. Someone recommended him to me, and he said that unless you have direct, blunt force trauma into your back, that everyone's back some people's discs go out, some people don't.
Sure.
And he says it has nothing to do with what sport you're doing or whatever. But so there's 20-year-old. He was showing me MRIs of different people and said, look, this is a 23-year-old girl, never did anything in her life, and her back's screwed. She needs disc replacement surgery.
Well, I got pile drived once. So I got 2 discs that just are waiting to go out here and 2 down here. I'm not looking forward to that. All being puffed out, way out.
You're going to get surgery?
I don't know. It's just when they hurt, it's like, it's excruciating to even get up. Well, I'm sure you went through that too. So.
Yeah, my back was, I tried everything for it, and then I finally got an MRI, and they said, you don't have a disc in your L1S5, and or L5S1. I get those confused, but I was bone to bone for years and years, and that's where all the pain came from. So I finally went in there, got surgery, and hopefully it fixes it. But
you're such a cool cat and funny and nice. A lot of guys that are tough guys, I mean, a lot of them are cool. And I guess you and Joe have helped kind of change things. But I remember just some of the people I've been around from, UFC, they really are kind of aggressive jerks. But it seems like that's getting phased out. There's still some of that?
There's douchebags in every genre and every community. Jiu-jitsu has them too. So there's douchebags in the conspiracy theory movement, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know Dana White's a super nice guy, but for all the power he's got, he's really down to earth.
Yeah, very nice guy, Unless you get on his bad side, then he comes
That's what Joe
at you with the wrath. No, but I love Dana. What he's done for the sport and MMA, I mean, without him, the UFC wouldn't be where it's at right now.
Absolutely. I remember Joe back when he was going, this UFC is going to start to be bigger than the NFL. Man, it's so awesome. And Dana White, and I was just like, and then all of a sudden it just explodes.
Yeah.
Joe's been there since the very start, pretty much.
Yep. He was doing backstage interviews in '97 back in...
You say Joe. I mean, I've seen the workouts. Works out really hard. You say Joe's really good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, he's one of my black belts. Yeah, he hasn't trained in a couple of years because he had a back injury himself. Didn't get surgery, but his back is kind of tweaked, and he might not be able to get back to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
He's talked about it, though. He's talked about coming back, but we'll see.
But he was a champion in Taekwondo, too.
Yes. He's one of the hardest kickers pound for pound that I've ever seen, and I've known.
Did you ever see that video where he was kicking till the blood was pouring out of his shins? I was like, it was crazy.
He was kicking till the blood was pouring.
I saw it once. I tried to find it again, but yeah, he was like kicking with some big UFC guy to see who could go the longest, like kicking a wall, kicking a pillar. And he did it till it was just like blood was, every time his heart beat, blood was just running out of the shin.
I'm not sure I've seen
I'm telling you, call Joe, absolutely.
Well, there's a video of him showing GSP, one of the greatest fighters of all time, showing him how to throw a turning sidekick. And it's pretty crazy. I mean, you got Joe Rogan, the Fear Factor guy, showing GSP, arguably the best pound per pound fighter of all time. And he's showing him how to throw a turning sidekick.
Let's Google that. I've seen that video. It's amazing. Yeah. What's the name?
You could just GSP, Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan shows how to do a what kind of kick?
A turning sidekick. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, here it is. Let's go ahead and turn off the audio. This is Joe Rogan.
No, this is not the one. This is him showing how to throw a turning sidekick, but you got to find the one that says GSP as well. This is, that was the...
Doesn't Joe have the classic bulldog features? Hey, let's get into serious stuff, though. What do you make of them coming out and saying, okay, we're listening to everybody, we're watching Congress, your TV's watching you, everything's true? I mean, we already knew because the industry had to admit it or they could get sued. That's what's crazy. This was in, I'd love to say, oh, I knew it. I had sources. It was in the press releases in 2004. Here's 2006. Government. Industry to use computer microphones to spy on 150 million Americans. So the big news I want to tell people is this. We're going to skip this break so we have more time. If you think this is big and shocking, folks, this is the thing they attack me on and say I'm crazy. Your TV's watching you. That's the classic deal. They're now freaking out all over the news going, I guess Alex Jones is right. What the hell? Folks, that's not what's important. They're putting cancer viruses in the vaccines. And you go, okay, what's the proof? Thousands of medical reports around the world where they test them. They're adding cancer viruses that aren't even contaminants. It's not even in the chain of manufacturing. It's coming from egg whites, and then it's got some monkey virus that was never part of the production. They're doing it on purpose. They've been caught, and then it just goes from there, Eddie. There's a whole program to kill us.
Yeah.
They're putting fluoride in the water, which, in fact, it's on my bookshelf, guys, Eco Sciences back there. He wrote it in 1974, the last White House science czar. But in 74, John P. Holdren wrote it, the book, 1,100 pages long, as a textbook. And it says, we put fluoride in the water to lower their fertility and to lower their electrochemical activity in the brain and as adjuvants to accelerate the other drugs we add to the water. Now, anybody can Google it and see it online. You can read the pages. It's, it's at the different library website scans of it. See, they're lowering our fertility and killing us, folks. It's just like I told you the microphones and cameras are watching you. I didn't just pull that out of my rear end. They write books how they're poisoning you and your family. That's who Obama chose to run the damn country. That's who runs the whole chemtrail operation.
Yeah. Yeah, and with the vaccines, the craziest thing about the vaccines, most of the people believe, they're safe and effective because that's what the CDC pushes. But, when when you really, really look into vaccines, all you need to know is on day one, when your baby is born, they give it a Hep B vaccine.
That's sexually transmitted. Why would you take that?
Why are they giving? That's the Tower 7.
You might as well stomp on their liver on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. The day they're born, and you know why they give them the...
It'd be better for you to... Go ahead.
The reason they give them, when you ask the doctor, why on day one are you giving a newborn a Hep B vaccine? Makes no sense. Say, well, when they're older, they're going to forget. They're not going to do it when they're older. So day one, it's standard. Unless you say anything, they're gonna inject your baby on day one with a Hep B vaccine.
And then they act like you're crazy, and then the nurses, after you say no, they go, none of us do it either.
Yeah.
We've had nurses on who've given their names, but also nurses that have blurred out their faces. We're in the NICU, in the premature sick baby ward. They know when they give them the vaccines, they never used to do this. Now they order them to, that a lot of them stop breathing and die. So they get ready with the resuscitation, with the defibrillators, with the ventilators to keep them alive when the bioethics board orders them to give them the shots.
Yeah. Hep B, day one.
Listen, when you've got a 3-pound baby, until 5 years ago, they never gave it. They give the shots, the babies die. Sometimes they can't keep them alive. They die.
Yeah.
I mean, they give them the shot, an hour later, they're gone, baby.
Yeah, and
again, that exercise, in fact, we have the articles. Put it back on screen for TV viewers. I'll give it to people. Go ahead. And again, do I believe you can get learned immunity from a vaccine? Of course I believe in that technology. If there's some horrible disease running around killing people and I can get it or my kids can, we can attenuate the virus or whatever it is, my body learns how to defeat it. Of course I believe in science. The point is that a government that's been caught in all these secret experiments and giving black people syphilis and everything else, and radiating foster kids to death, why the hell would you take something when it's got vaccine protection?
Yeah, when we were kids, there was probably 3 or 4.
Now it's over 50.
Yeah, and why is that? Does it have anything to do with the fact that Ronald Reagan signed a bill in 1986 that gave immunity to the vaccine manufacturers, which is basically Big Pharma?
Exactly. And Reagan didn't know what he was doing, but that's one evil thing Reagan did, and Trump's trying to repeal it.
Yeah, so since 1986, the Big Pharma can get sued for vaccine injuries. That's when they started rolling them out and green-lighting them. That's why now we have, how many, 45 shots babies got to take?
And you can Google this. The U.S. government admits life expectancy's down in the U.S., infant mortality's up, and IQ has dropped more than 20 points since 1950.
And according to mainstream
20 points, brother.
Yeah,
go ahead.
According to mainstream statistics, I could be wrong, I'm no scientist, but 50% of American kids are on some kind of medication, right?
Yeah, it's 50%. Adults, 20.
50% of kids are on some kind of medication, and we vaccinate the most.
And notice it says our population's dropping on NPR, brought to you by a Big Pharma ad. They got Big Pharma as the advertiser. When you go look at the program Shots, it's underwritten by the big GlaxoSmithKline. Folks, it's social engineering. You wonder why people are like zombies? You wonder why there's so... In fact, let's play a clip from Paul Watson's report on this lady last week. And you go out to these anti-Trump events, they're like zombies. Whether you love Trump or hate him, they attack you, they yell, they scream, they act like zombies. Let's play a clip. Here it is.
This is.
That was a good clip. I like that clip. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That and now for something completely different. Are we going to have that clip from Paul Watson's zombie deal? All right, we'll play it sometime. You know, these live computers. Ready for the clip? There. Well, third's the charm.
He is your president!
Now, I know what you're thinking. This is just one individual. This isn't an accurate portrayal of the reasoned, credible, legitimate anti-Trump protest movement.
United States of America. Don't
Oh, we should film
And by the way, this is how they act. This is like normal. You go out to any event, this happens.
It has to be a joke. I
None of them
cannot
work.
believe this is happening. I'm literally
Low IQs.
tell myself that I'm not kidding. You better fix it right
That's when Trump
now.
won.
I literally am gonna die.
This is DC. I want to show more of the zombie lady. Let's extend it out.
Yeah.
Let's start it from the beginning. Can we do that? I want to start it from the beginning, just so people can see this lady. It's online. It goes on for like 30 minutes. Her howling with her tongue hanging out. And the thing is, Eddie, if you go to these events, this is how people act. Here it is.
Now for something completely different.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
It's more like babies throwing fists, but they're all super pale, little pot bellies, and they just look like undead. Then later she has her tongue hanging out, going, "Bleh."
Oh, man.
And I'm not trying to be mean. Something's going on. Look at this.
What the hell are they?
Look at this. I mean, that's what you see in mental institutions.
But wait, give her a chance. When she calms down, she might have an actual argument.
All right, I'm going to stop. Eddie,
That was amazing.
we're not trying to be mean to these people. I mean, what do you think of this?
I don't know, man. It's mass hypnosis? I don't know. I think people are...
By the way, you say I know all this. You and Joe, and I'm not kissing Joe's butt or your butt. On the show, Joe knew more about Pizzagate and stuff than I did. He was finishing my sentences. And so I misspoke for folks I'd talked to saying maybe Joe got threatened. He did not. You know, that's all. That was wrong when I said that. But seriously, why doesn't Joe do a separate show that isn't conspiracy theories? It's crazy admitted stuff that's really going on. If Joe knows as much as I do or more, you're over here laying out all the facts just as good as I can or better. I mean, I think you guys should start doing a whole conspiracy podcast. You already hosted a national TV show.
I don't think Joe wants to do a conspiracy podcast. I think he wants to keep, you know, just doing what he's doing. He's busy.
But more and more he is, because he's not a liberal or conservative. He's more like what a libertarian kind of, right?
I think.
But I mean, more and more he's getting mad at the liberals and just like the young Turks, how they call everybody a racist when they're not. And I mean, I've seen that a lot on the show. It's getting really big.
You know, Brian Callen, who's also on the show, too, when we do Fight Companions, he's about as far left as you can get, as far pro-government as you can get. But he's been texting me the stuff that's been coming out in Vault 7. He's been going, whoa, maybe there is some truth to what you're saying, you know? So even...
Well, yeah, it's not the government's bad itself. There's rogue elements in there.
Yeah. Yeah, if Brian Callen is kind of awakening, he's like sort of awake, you know, and the sun got your eye. He's kind of waking up. So there's hope. There's
You
hope.
know, that was crazy. Joe talked about that. Like, literally, almost all the comments were positive. All these people that hated me said, wow, I actually like Alex Jones now.
Yeah.
Because they actually heard me talk.
Yeah, and the more people hated me, it didn't bother me that much because it meant that they wanted to listen to you more. They were mad at me for interrupting you. So for me, the main thing for me was that people listened to you. You got all the facts. You got all the documents. I'm trying to direct people to listen to you.
Well, a lot of it's not even that. I mean, if a listener tells me, get John P. Holdren's book, he talks about fluoride to sterilize us and make us dumb, I go get the book and he says it in there, and I'm not that smart.
How crazy is it that people are okay with fluoride in our water? How crazy is that?
Even Harvard admits, take it out, it's causing cancer. They just won't do it. They just laugh and go, oh, you're a kook.
People don't seem to mind fluoride in the water. They don't.
Well, then they go, well, you need some fluoride. Yeah, you'll die without a small amount of calcium fluoride. We're talking about hydrofluorosilicic.
Yeah.
It's It's acid out of fluoride.
And people think that the government really cares about our teeth, like they're doing it to take care of our teeth.
Now, let's put that article back up, because every time we put them up, there's a pop-up on all these sites. But I want to put it back up. The crew does a great job. And after a pop-up pops up, they take it down, and then we never see it. Yeah, there it is. Impact of fluoride on neurological development in children. God almighty.
Is Trump doing, does he know about the whole fluoride
He
thing?
knows all of it. He's trying to get the economy turned back on so everybody gets on his side. And the vaccines, the fluoride, the geoengineering, it's all over.
Is he aware of stratospheric air
I haven't talked to him specifically, but I mentioned other people. They go, yeah, he knows. The word was from high-level CIA. They go, the president knows everything. They've all told him he knows everything. We'll be back. He knows more than we know.
A previously debunked claim alleging then-candidate Donald Trump ran a secret server to communicate with Russia during the 2016 presidential race has resurfaced. The establishment mainstream media is now rehashing this story, which has already been debunked. After President Donald Trump on Saturday accused his predecessor, Barack Obama, of illegally wiretapping phone calls at New York's Trump Tower, mainstream media outlets began to list possible surveillance targets, including Trump's so-called secret server to talk with the Russians. And look who's spreading the fake news. Hillary Clinton posted on Twitter that it's time for Trump to answer serious questions about his ties to Russia, and she included a link to the original Slate article that started the bogus rumor to begin with. And you can check out the real news right now at Infowars.com.
Leading a frontal assault on the lies of the New World Order, it's Alex Jones. We are on the march. The Empire is on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Coming up in the next segment, we're going to show you that Joe Rogan kick that's one of the best out there, according to Eddie Bravo, and get into some other issues. But Eddie, stop saying I'm the one that's the expert. The show is all about everybody doing their own research. Paul Watson goes out, 12 years ago and finds Google saying, we're watching you over the camera, we're listening to you over the microphone, in a press release to shareholders about a new form of advertising. So anybody can do this. And you're just as smart or smarter than I am. So
no, I doubt that.
BS.
And what is research?
So too humble.
Let's define research, because some people think that getting on the internet is not research. You have to go to a library or something. What do you think? What's research mean?
Research means, okay, well, they have all these reports that...
Can you get on the internet and do research?
Yes.
Okay, can you get on YouTube and do research?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
it's
Some
simple.
people think, oh, it's weird. The same people that say, there was a guy on Joe Rogan's podcast, some paleontologist. He's like, isn't it fucking, oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're going to delay it.
That? Isn't it amazing that we have all the information of all time on our watch? Isn't that amazing? It's incredible.
So this is a real Eddie Bravo.
It's an incredible time we're living in.
The cuss words are coming.
And then all of a sudden,
the dinosaurs are replicas. Do it for me. I love it.
Hey, did you know that? Did you know that all the skeletons of dinosaurs in all the museums are all replicas? They're not, because the real bones are too sensitive and they don't want people touching them, so they lock them up so no one can see them. So all the skeletons that you see, did you know this? I didn't know this. They're replicas. Isn't that weird?
I want to take
Isn't that weird?
I want to take you to the Natural History Museum.
The only
Here's
reason...
what's going to happen. They're going to have a headline tonight on CNN. Alex Jones says dinosaurs weren't real. I'm going to tell you right now, I believe in it. But they're such liars in media and science and have been caught with big lie. All the big stuff with Piltdown Man and all the fake early humanoids they claim they dug up. Yes, there's a big history of paleontologists and archaeologists faking things. That's an admitted. In fact, Google history of archaeologists faking finds. It's epidemic. It's massive. It's a big problem. So you're right to question.
Yeah, if there's something out there that I got to take some unknown scientist's word for, some unknown government scientist's word for, and there's science that we don't know anything about the experiments, we just got to take someone's word for it, a government scientist.
Well, my grandfather was an archaeology major at UT.
Yeah.
After World War II. That was before World War II. The point was, and he was involved out before when they were building Lake Travis, when they found stuff, and he saw them dig up the plesiosaur. That's at UT. So if you go to UT, a lot of the places have these big giant ones where only a few pieces are real, and they'll fall apart. They try to weld all those together so plastic's easier. They think the public's dumb. But you go to UT, and you go to the Natural History Museum, you go downstairs, nobody wants to look at it, you'll see 100% real dinosaurs all over the place. It's just...
They're not replicas?
They're not replicas.
Okay. All right. Then I stand corrected.
But
no, my point
you can argue about how long ago they were really here.
Well, my point is, if you go to a museum and there's a dinosaur skeleton and it's a replica, it's only cool to see a dinosaur skeleton if it's a real dinosaur skeleton. If it's fake, you might as well put skin on it.
No, I agree. When you go to the New York Metropolitan thing or the Smithsonian, most of it are replicas.
It's only cool if they're real. If it's not real,
and then they call it a conspiracy theory. If you say it's a replica, why are they showing us replicas?
Yeah, why not just put fake skin on it too? And it's only cool to see a skeleton.
I took my kids to that Walking with Dinosaurs where the robots come out.
Yeah, you might as well just
maybe that's real, huh?
Fake the whole thing.
No, you've got a great point, because what do you do when the media gets caught lying so much? It then discredits all of it. I mean, who knows what's real, huh?
Yeah, and something that existed 60 million years ago. Come on, you gotta question it. It's but on the dinosaur thing, really quick, if you want to look into the whole did dinosaurs really exist? Go to YouTube, look up Eric Dubay's "Dinosaurs Don't Exist."